The Vietnamese Butcher. In 2025, an incredibly brutal video surfaced online, spreading through private Telegram channels. The footage shows a bound Asian man sitting on the floor, while another person wearing a Guy Fawkes mask walks around him and cuts his neck. The scene then moves to a bathroom. The tied-up man lies on the floor and brings himself to climax, while the masked man watches. Finally, the attacker uses a cleaver knife to strike the man's neck multiple times, decapitating him. He then dismembers the body, cooks parts of it, and eats them. What made this case unique was how the video circulated. At first, it was sold privately online. Eventually, someone bought the exclusive rights to the footage, after which it leaked completely into public Telegram chats. Internet users analyzed the video frame by frame. It was immediately clear that the footage was shot in Vietnam. Users reported the crime to the local police, but when law enforcement failed to act, the internet community started their own investigation. The main clue was in the second part of the video, where the victim was on the floor. In this scene, the killer was unmasked in the shadows. Based on this and other visual clues, digital detectives managed to identify both the killer and the victim. They compiled their entire investigation into an 88-page document and published it online. Only then did the Vietnamese police actually do something. They arrested the suspect identified by the internet sleuths, and he turned out to be the actual killer. The victim's identity was also correct. The murderer was Doan Van Sang, and the victim was Nguyen Xuan Dat, a man who suffered from severe mental health issues and reportedly fantasized about being decapitated. The two men had met on extreme underground forums and agreed to carry out the act. Today, the Vietnamese butcher case is remembered as one of the most brutal and notorious crimes to ever come out of Vietnam. Dr. Gloves. In the 2000s, extremely disturbing images surfaced on 4chan and gore forums showing an unidentified masked man posing with the corpses of stillborn and miscarried fetuses. But the most horrific pictures featured living children. All children appeared to be developed mentally challenged, and some may have been comatose, except for one. A little girl in a pink t-shirt who was seen walking around freely. He took more disgusting photos with her than anyone else. Tragically, many believe she may have been his own daughter. The images were too sickening to ignore, and an internet investigation quickly began. As the photos circulated online, users tried desperately to identify the man. The person who originally posted the images went by the name Master, but online communities later dubbed him Dr. Gloves due to the long medical gloves he wore in almost every picture. Based on the photos, Dr. Gloves is likely a white male between 30 and 45 years old. Investigators suspect he worked in a hospital. Some believed he was a child mortician, but his interactions with living children complicated that theory. The electrical outlets visible in the background helped narrow down the location to either the US or Canada. Then, a massive breakthrough happened. One of the images captured a photo ID badge. The name on the badge read Edvin Baljans. While it wasn't a 100% confirmation of Dr. Gloves' identity, it was the biggest lead they had. Users immediately reported the twisted medical worker to the FBI. But the FBI ignored them, stating that the images didn't show anything explicitly illegal. To this day, the case of Dr. Gloves remains completely unsolved. Mr. Swirl. In the early 2000s, German police discovered a hard drive in a forgotten storage unit. Inside, they found photos of food, scenic locations in Southeast Asia, and CP. In these horrific images, 3 young boys were inside an abandoned building. However, it wasn't just this disgusting crime that made the case so famous. The most unusual part of these photos was that the perpetrator didn't try to hide his identity. He simply swirled his face using image editing software. Because of this disturbing detail, the internet dubbed him Mr. Swirl. Starting in 2004, Interpol launched a massive manhunt to track down this monster. The investigation was named Operation Vico, and it brought in top computer forensics experts to try and unswirl the suspect's face. Interpol tried to use context clues from the background of the pictures to track down exactly where they were taken. However, this proved incredibly difficult due to the wide range of countries featured in the images. It was as if Mr. Swirl believed he was completely untouchable, playing a sick game with the police by refusing to hide his face. Around the same time, investigators discovered that photos with the exact same swirl effect were being posted across various underground forums. It was Mr. Swirl. He had uploaded nearly 300 of these images, becoming highly notorious within sick online communities. The only way to catch him was to find a way to reverse the swirl effect on his face. Fortunately, the swirl effect differs from other blurs because it doesn't actually destroy the pixels in a photo, it just rearranges them. The face hidden beneath the distortion all along belonged to Christopher Neal, a Canadian citizen who had been traveling across Asia to commit his horrific crimes. In 2007, Christopher Paul Neal was arrested in Thailand and sentenced to prison. However, after just 10 years, he was released. The Chinese Lab. In February 2022, a Chinese urban explorer posted a video on Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok, showing a strange location he found in rural China. The place looked like an abandoned hospital or laboratory. As he went deeper into the basement, he stumbled upon a shocking sight, a large pool full of what looked like the bodies of children. At the beginning of the video, the blogger claimed these were just models or film props. However, viewers instantly doubted him because everything looked way too realistic. Nearly a year later, the explorer decided to return to the site. His second visit proved that these weren't just props. Over the months he was gone, the remains in the pool showed clear signs of natural decomposition. On top of that, he found medical equipment and a glass jar containing a human embryo inside the lab. Shortly after, his account was banned. When it was finally restored sometime later, the videos were gone, and the blogger never mentioned the incident again. His footage sparked massive controversy both inside China and around the world. Some people speculated that this was a dark consequence of China's one-child policy, which lasted until 2015. Another theory suggested a link to the black market organ trade. There are other theories, but none of them actually explain what this place really was. Disney's website. In the mid-1990s, a user named Kevin TX created a website called paranoia.com. The site was simple, but it had a clear purpose: to serve as a platform for absolute free speech where anyone could post whatever they wanted. It quickly gained massive popularity. Thousands of users flooded paranoia.com to share their thoughts, personal journals, and obscure hobbies. It became a home for both ordinary people and strange internet subcultures. But this total freedom had a very dark side. The platform hosted disturbing adult content and early pages created by pedophile advocacy groups calling themselves Pedophile Pride. Today, the archives look like a raw time capsule, showing exactly what the unfiltered Wild West of the early internet looked like. By the late 90s, the project died out. Kevin TX wasn't making any money from the site, and keeping it online became too expensive. The website was forced to close. However, shortly after it shut down, people noticed something incredibly bizarre. If you tried to visit paranoia.com, it automatically redirected you straight to disney.com. This sparked massive curiosity. What could a creepy, edgy site full of borderline illegal content possibly have in common with the Disney company? People reached out to Disney directly, asking why paranoia.com redirected to their homepage, but Disney remained completely silent. However, the answer turned out to be purely corporate, but fascinating nonetheless. In the year 2000, Fox Family Channel launched an interactive TV game show called Paranoia. It was a brand new concept for its time, allowing viewers to participate live via the internet through a partnership with the web portal Excite. To support the show, Excite bought the paranoia.com domain. But how does Disney fit into this? The missing piece of the puzzle came just a year later. In 2001, Disney bought out Fox Family worldwide in a massive deal. Along with the TV network itself, Disney inherited all of its digital assets and web domains, including paranoia.com.